our bathroom floor in question. We're actually going on to Tim. The job in question today, we've got ourselves some Unibond because we're going to be tiling onto a wooden floor. We've got a little roller and a little roller tray. We've got a brush. I've got a spirit level here which I'm going to use as a straight edge. I've got some sponges just for cleaning off afterwards. Now I've got some notch trowels here. I've got a notch trowel that is probably about a 5mm cutout, and I've got a 20mm cutout. Now obviously if your floor at home is very uneven, you will need the deep notch trowel. We're going to use the 5mm notch trowel today because we're going onto a timber floor. Now I've also got a mixing trowel. I've got some Mappy Keraquick Rapid Set Flexible Tile Adhesive. Because we're going onto a wooden floor, we want it to be flexible. It is rapid. A squeegee, which is for our grout. I've got a bag of grey grout. I've got a tile cutter. Now this is a wet cutter, fantastic for doing floor tiles. Tiles we're going to be laying about 8 square metres today. These are the tiles that we're going to use, and we've got obviously more in boxes, and I'll show you as we go along, you know, the fixing process that we're going to use to fix these to the floor. We've got 4mm spacers that we're going to put in between the tiles. Now we're going to do a lot of cutting with the Ruby cutter. Fantastic bit of kit, use these all the time. We've also got 2 buckets. We're going to obviously have a bucket for our sponge for cleaning off our tiles, and then a bucket just to knock our adhesive up. So what I'll do is I'll measure the width of our room, which is 2840. So I want to say that's about 1420, which gives me my middle point of my room. And then the best thing is just grab yourself a tile that you're working with, put this on the edge of your line, and then see what your cuts are. To the right hand side, obviously, because we've made that the centre of the room, the cut to the right hand side will duplicate that to the cut to the left hand wall. So what we do is just mark that off. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, and as you can see from our finished point there, we've got a nice cut to that wall there, and that will obviously give us the same. What we do, we've got our spirit level that we're working as a straight edge. So we'll run this through our 2 lines, like so. Just get that on with a pencil or a marker pen or whatever. Just run this through, like so. And I know that is going to be my starting line where I'm going to spring off from. And then, like I say, if we work to say 3/4 of a tile, say 300 off of there, we're going to be approximately touching the legs. So if I just line that through. Like so, there's so many ways of doing this. I always find this is the best way. I know that line's straight, so what we do, we get our straight edge again, and we just run this off of our pencil line at a point. Our first tile off of that, and we run along our line, come tiny bit of water there, we put some PVA in that bucket, and just pour some of that in, like so. We just give that a little. You can put this on with brush, you can put it on with a broom or whatever. I've got a little roller tray here, I can pour that into the roller tray. But what I tend to do is just knock this up, get myself a little tiny roller, and what we want to do is do the whole entire area, like so, and then just work this in all the way across. Water into my mixing bucket. Again, like I say, I'm using rapid set, so I don't want too much water in there. So what we do is we get our bag and we slowly pour this into our water. You don't want this to be too thick. I'll show you the consistency once I've knocked it up. Always add a bit more powder if you want to. So with our mixing trowel, we just bring this together with the water. Now you can get different coloured adhesives. You can get a white powdered adhesive, and you can get obviously this grey adhesive. We're going to be using grey tiles. We're going to be using grey grout, so that's why we're using the dark coloured adhesive. If you're using white grout at home on a floor or on the wall or whatever you're doing, always best to use a white powder, because if you get any grey coming through, tile line and you haven't washed it out properly, when you come to grout it, you'll actually see it, and it's right. That's coming together nicely, like so. And try and get all the lumps out if you can. If you've got a mixing drill at home, then obviously you can do it with that. I'm quite happy with using our trowel here. So that's the sort of consistency you're looking for. So I'll tell you what to do next. We'll just bring. So we know our starting point here. We've got our lines on the floor. So what we want to do is just spread some of this adhesive, like so. Good thing about rapid set adhesive is it goes off pretty quickly. What I normally do is just lay a section first of all, get 3, 4, maybe 5 tiles down off of your lines, and then once that's gone off, then you can start pushing the tiles against each other, and they're not, you know, they're not going to move out of position. So what we'll do enough to do, let's say a bank of 6 tiles. Okay? We'll just spread this adhesive out. Now, like I say, if your floor's running out, you will need you will need to get a deep notch trowel, but our floor's nice and level. You can actually level your tiles in, but if, like I say, our floor is nice and level, so I'm just going to go to that today. Right, let's just get my pencil, and we just mark this off so I roughly know where I'm going to be coming with my bank of 6 tiles. So I'll roughly be coming there, so I can wipe just some of that excess off so it doesn't go off. So that's what we do, like so. And then again, get your tile, lay it on your point where you've marked it. Get your lines nice and straight, so you're on your line on your back edge of tile, on your side of your tile. And I know I'm bang on my line there. Now, a lot of tilers, they use spacers. Some tilers don't use spacers. It's entirely up to you. Obviously, if you're going to be doing it for the first time, then I'd highly recommend that you use spacers. So get a couple of tiles down on your lines. I've got exactly like that. And then once you're happy with your lines that it's all going through, you want to just get some tile spacers in there. Now, you can lay tile spacers within the joints and leave them in there. On the floor tiles, what we normally do is just place these in. That's still on my outside line, just bring that across a little bit, like so. Again, spread that apart, get another couple of spaces in there. And obviously, once this adhesive's gone off, good thing about tile spacers is, I pull them out, I can reuse them. So, good, you know, good invention for a bit of plastic. So again, lay your tile, like so. Get another one down, and if you just get your head down to almost the level of the tile, you'll see, you know, if you need to push it down a little bit, just make sure they're nice and level. So again, not a job you want to rush really, just take your time. So again, tile spacer on the top section. What you want to do is get it on each corner like so, and then you know you're going to have a 4mm, nice 4mm joint running all the way through. Gives you a nice little bit of time. The rapid set. Obviously, if you're working with standard set, you won't be able to walk on it straight away. So we just pull them over. Just make sure you're happy with all your lines, like so. And then what we do is we will just clean up our edges, because once this stuff goes off, you'll have to get yourself hammer and chisel or hammer and bolster to knock it off. That's nice and clean, like so. And like I say, adhesive. So, and as you can see, every single one of them tiles is touching along that straight edge. So again, with the trowel, just work it away from the tiles, exactly the same as the other side really. Right, okay, again, exactly the same procedure, lay your tile. Now, I know that our floor tiles in, put them across the tile, push them down, and then just get them nice and level. I mean, that's lovely and level. So, also, if you find your floor is running out too much, you can dab the back of your tiles, like so. What you don't want to do is create any air pockets, and what you could do is just place this on top of the adhesive and slowly work this in, and then you can find yourself a level. You can push it down at one side because you know the adhesive's under there, and then you know that you can get that level, like so. But that's not only if your floor is obviously running out. So I'll take that, and then we'll start putting our spacers in. Great idea, spacers, because you can always pull them out of the tile. They're not very expensive to buy, but you can pull them out of the tile, and then obviously, like, you can reuse them. Okay, so what I'll do to the tile, take away the thickness of your spacer that you're putting in, both against the wall line and against your tile line. Or alternatively, you can get your tile, you can put it up against the wall, you can allow for your spacer, you can mark your tile like so, which I've done there. Because it's a dark tile, you can see the pencil line's not really showing. So you could use a marker pen and just mark this off with a marker pen. As you can see, it's a red marker, and you can see the line a lot better. So, like I say, I've marked that. So obviously when I cut my tile through, I'll then reverse that tile round, and that will be the distance that I've got cut to the wall. So I've done that end. What we do is turn the tile round, again, allow for your spacer, and just mark that out. Now what I want to do is take out my red line. So I want to cut to the full size tile. So we place this down. I know that I want to take my line out. So we just adjust the arm. So I want to take my arm, take my line out. Now if you've got a lot of tiles to cut, what you could do is set the gauge, which is this mechanism here. It locks into place. Now if you've got 6 or 7 gauge, your cut tile will be exactly the same all the way through. So what we do, we place this onto the tile, onto the ruby tile bed, and I'll show you on this particular cutter we've got a wheel. This will score the tile. We'll bring the tile cutter back on itself, release the arm, and then we push the arm down and it will snap the tile. So if I just show you that, so we just score that through like so, which we've done. If you can see that score line there, and then we push the arm down, and then don't be frightened of it, just push it down and your tile snaps. And as you can see, that's a nice clean break. So what we do is just take our tile over, and before we start putting adhesive down, we just hold that in place. And as you can see, I've got a nice gap for my tile spacer and a nice gap to the wall. So if you're using rapid set adhesive, what you want to do is just lay this down. Don't put any adhesive on it yet. Don't knock up any adhesive. Like I say, if you're using rapid, it goes off too quick. What you want to do is just cut these tiles in. Once you've so what we want to do is we want to place the tile on the floor and line it up with our tiles that we laid earlier. And what we do is just mark this off like so with our pencil, or like I say, with our marker pen. Now I know that we've got skirting going on this return wall here, so you know I haven't got to be tight up to this wall line. So what we'll do is mark it there, and then we'll pull it back on itself. Again, allow for your tile spacer to go in, and then we'll cut this one to the wall line like so. So that is the section we want to take out. So what we do is just square this off so we know that we're following our line when we use our wet cutter, like so. And as you can see, that is the area we want to take out. Right, the machine we're going to use for this is a Ruby wet cutter, fantastic bit of kit, got a diamond blade in it, got a water tray underneath, so obviously when you start it up the water spins onto the blade and it keeps the blade nice and cool, which allows it to stay sharp for longer. Again, I can't stress coming out of the blade now, and what we'll do is just run this, let the blade do the work, don't force it because you just blunt the blade. Just run this and again, and as you can see, that's given us a nice cut there. Do this for now and just have a look, make sure we're happy with it. And as you can see, that's nice down that line. And like I say, I've got a bit of a gap there. It doesn't matter because obviously I've got skirting going on there. Now I've cut these air gaps in it, and by the time we've pushed this down, all that adhesive would have spreaded across. So I'll just lay that in there, like so. Get a spacer. Put a spacer in. Like that. Again, back of the tile. As you start laying the tiles, you'll know how much adhesive to put on the floor or put on the back edge of the tile. What you don't want to do is put too much adhesive on the back of the tile, so you're forever trying to push it into place, and then, like I say, once you're pushing it down, all the adhesive comes through the gaps, and then you'll be a while cleaning it up. So I'm happy with that. I'll just pull that back on itself again, like so. Right, now we get our L-shaped tile. Spread the adhesive on the back of here. Like so. And we just lay this into position. Always try and push it down, make sure the adhesive is key to the tile, and obviously the wood that it's the subfloor that it's fixing to. So we push that in like so, get our spacers going internally like that. Right, okay, so what we do is that's nice, like that, that's it. So what we do then is just clean, like I say, clean up the boundary edges with your trowel. It's a lot easier to do this when it's wet, because when it goes hard it's a nightmare and I have to start chopping it out with a hammer and chisel. Right, okay, so see, I've got another L-shaped tile going on here. The other problem I've got is I've got architrave. Now I can cut my tile and then I can nibble it out with my nibblers, which takes the tile on the floor, allow for the adhesive, so raise it up a little tiny bit, and then what we do is just scribe that across, like so. And as you can see, I've got a line through there. Now I'll put my safety glasses on. Great tool, they've got different speeds on them, you can slow them down or fasten them up. And what I want to do is just take the bottom of that architrave off. So I'll go beyond my line so the tile slips underneath it. Again, always wear, which I can either silicone or like I can grout in. So let's get a full tile. Just put that on the floor. Now obviously once my tile's laid, I want that to finish a little tiny bit underneath my door when my door's shut, because in this room here I might carpet this and I've got tile, so I'll get a nice carpet to tile trim. So what we do is just mark this off like so, and then get my spirit level. And what we want to do is just do this on the inside edge of the stop, and this will meet up this section here. I'll just run my pencil across that. As you can see, I've got a pencil line across there. So, right, best to just measure this. So I want to make that 212. So measure 212 down. 212. And again, just up the other end. And that will be about 214. So this wall is actually running out a little tiny bit. So measure down 214. Just get my little tile, my template tile. Just put this on my 2 lines and run this through like so. And then again, allow for your spacer so that line runs right through. And we just run that through there. And keep that nice and square. Run that through. And once I've cut my cutout that I need, I'll actually cut the tile down from the edge of my tile to my line. So let's take it on the wet cutter we're going to follow. Right, okay, we just dry this off. Then we try it in our cut the length down as well. So just lay that in. As you can see, that's nice and tight there. And then on our pencil line, we'll just run this across. We'll just cut this section off. So, the tile itself, we'll just try that again, make sure we're happy. Whenever you're doing tile and whenever you're cutting around architraves, you might have to just take it back and tweak it on the wet cutter a little bit, but that seems fine. So we'll pull that out, get some adhesive that we've got left. And again, just spread this with your notch trowel. Make sure you get plenty of adhesive on this section here, because that, like, it's quite thin, might be a bit of a vulnerable part. Let's turn the tile over and just slide this underneath our architrave that we've cut off. Push that into place. Make sure you're nice and level and you're happy with that. Get a couple of tile spacers. Place these into position. Like so. I'll just clean that edge off. And what we do is we'll wait, so shake our grout up. Just split the block bag like so. Add the grout to the water. What you don't want to do is put too much water in. I don't know if you've seen our videos before. If you stick too much water in and you've only got one bag of grout, you'll find that the mixture won't come together and it'll be too runny. So slowly just keep adding the grout to the water. I've got about 8 square metres on this floor, so it'll probably take 3/4 of this bag. What you want to do is knock all the lumps out of it and get a nice creamy consistency, and I'll show you that once I've brought it all together. As you can see, they're starting to come together now. I'll just add a bit more into there, like so. And that should do us. Once that's all brought together, that'll be just the mixture I'm looking for. Right, okay, that's the sort of mixture you're looking for. So what I'll do is just bring that together a bit more. And then what we do is just pull it and start working it right into the joint. Make sure you push it right down into your joint. Like so. Just let the squeegee do the work, backwards and forwards like that. Wipe it through, like so. Then what you've done, once you've done an area, just get your squeegee and wipe off the excess as much as you can. And as you're pulling it back, you might see, you know, just have a look over your grout, make sure you've got no pimple holes or whatever. Like I say, just work this in nicely. Make sure you push it right the way down into the joint. Because we washed this floor yesterday, we've got no water in the joints at all. Now if you fix and grout on the same day, you've got a tendency, if you like wash out your floor and there's water still between your joints, what happens is when you start to push the grout into the joint, it reverses itself and then the water comes to the top and it takes ages to dry. Anyway, just keep wiping this in. The white grout is a nice grout to use. Say on a white tiled floor or something, 3 washes and you're out the door, polish it up, all done. You find when you use a dark grout, you've got to, like so. You want to do this all the way across the floor. Try not to make it too wet. Right, on your first wash you just want to keep